there is a war going on. And I'm not talking about the war on poverty or the culture war that we hear mainstream media talk about or the war on drugs. No, it is a conflict that not many people have heard about. It is the civil war in Yemen that has been going on for roughly 8 or 9 years. It started in about 2013, 2014. Nobody's totally sure. It's been a pretty unstable region for decades. But this newer conflict has some very disturbing elements, similar to that we've seen in previous wars, specifically World War II. Yeah, there is a massive famine occurring in that country. Disease is running rampant. Aid workers can't even really get in to help the Yemenis in their struggle to just survive during this war. Now, there's a lot of complicated aspects to this, and honestly, I could talk about this for probably an hour or two, but I don't have that kind of time for this assignment. So let's go over the three main aspects that really make this conflict stand out in the world stage. Number one, the massive famine that's occurring. Number two, the severe number of human rights atrocities currently occurring. And number three, the complicity of other world governments, including the United States, in exacerbating the conflict and simply making it worse and far harder for recovery to occur. And I'm going to apologize right now for how shaky my camera is. I'm recording this on my phone because I don't really have great recording software, and I don't have access to a lot of money to buy good recording software on my laptop. So I'm sorry about that. So first, the famine. According to Amnesty International, one large part of the famine is the fact that both sides, being the Houthi rebels and the Saudi-led coalition, have been bombing food distribution centers and other civilian targets and important infrastructure, roads and electrical infrastructure, and even refugee camps in some cases. Now, this is obviously horrible. There's also I believe it's a Houthi blockade occurring out at sea and on major roadways into the country and whatever, that is stopping supplies and food from coming in at all. Again, obviously a major problem, and honestly some form of a war crime. I'm not 100% sure. Next, let's go to the human rights atrocities, not necessarily related to the famine. I mean, the famine's definitely one of them, but there's others. According to Amnesty International, again, there is torture, there is forced disappearances, also known as kidnappings. There has been even children being tortured and kidnapped. There's a lot of things like rape and death just occurring, as well as indiscriminate bombings of civilian targets, or I guess civilian areas. Obviously horrible. According to the Council of Foreign Relations as well, the UN estimates that 370,000 people have died due to a combination of lack of food, lack of water, and lack of medical care. All a bunch of crimes that shouldn't be occurring. Now, finally, let's go to probably the worst atrocity occurring. The fact that so many countries are complicit in this. The Global Center for the Responsibility to Protect states that the UK, the US, Iran, and a handful of other countries are complicit in exacerbating the conflict. And honestly, they don't have much of an incentive to stop it because they are making so much money off of selling weapons to both sides of the conflict. This is horrible. We need to be working together to be taking care of this conflict, not exacerbating it. So, in conclusion, we need to end this conflict. It is torturing people. It is killing people. It is starving people. It is horrible. It is one of the worst humanitarian crises we have ever seen. And I hope that we can work together to find a solution soon, because I don't know how much more time Yemen really has.